This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit the Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
Listen up, folks. Time could be running out to lock in a historic yield at Public.com. As of September 23rd, 2024, you can lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account. But here's the thing. The Federal Reserve just announced a big rate cut, and the plan is for more rate cuts this year and in 2025 as well. That's good news if you're looking to buy a home, but it might not be so good for the interest you earn on your cash. So, if you want to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment-grade bonds, you might want to act fast. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at Public.com. And once you lock in your yield, you can earn regular interest payments even as rates decline. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at Public.com. But hurry, your yield is not locked in until you invest. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit Public.com/disclosures for more info.
Welcome back to the Always On Point podcast with Kristen Ambos. I am your host here, and I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to Megan Jackett, who was our first guest that we had on. Obviously, for those of you who are newer to me and what I do, I am a mortgage lender. I've been a mortgage lender for the last 23 years here in the Northeast Wisconsin area. However, I am licensed throughout the state of Wisconsin and have 10 other licenses, typically throughout the Midwest, Florida, Tennessee, California, Arizona, a lot of the snowbird states. So we're constantly growing and helping people all over the nation. So it came to me not long ago in my career, just like so many in the social media light, that videos were really the next best thing to do. And they were great. I had a lot of fun with them and I still do them. However, when the algorithm started saying, oh, you only have 10 seconds now, or you have 3 seconds to get the hook and things like that, my mission has always been about education. And a fun fact about me for a lot of you who might not know is that I actually started in college as an education major. So I've always had that passion, light for education. My 4th grade self knew for sure I was going to be a teacher. However, I've always been a firm believer too that teachers need to be 100% in it for the right reasons. And while I loved teaching, I really also thrived and loved the business entrepreneurial side of things. So now I'm in a position where I have been able to marry both, which is the mortgage and entrepreneurial side of that, as well as educate. My philosophy has always been that education will empower anyone who wants to be a homeowner, and anyone that wants to be a homeowner can be a homeowner through the right education. And you don't have to believe that you are not fit to be one. And, I started my career in the really early 2000s and came up, and it was huge. It was awesome. The business that we had and the company that I was with at the time, and watching the growth was such an exciting time to be a part of it. Now, just to give you a little background, when I started in mortgages, the rates were about 7.5%. And within that first year to 18 months of my career, we were down to about 6%. And that was unheard of at the time. So we were refinancing people left and right. And one of the things that I noticed during all these refinances that I really questioned and I didn't feel great about was the constant churning of the same clients and the same people. And no, I'll pay your closing costs, and then next month I'll refinance you to another 0.5%, and then I'll pay your closing costs then too. And then the month after that, I'll refinance you another 0.5% down, and then I'll pay those closing costs too. So people really didn't have any skin in the game. However, the loan officers didn't have the regulations they needed. And so I watched these loan officers, and within my own office, unfortunately at the time, just churning through loans and refinances and making tons of money off the backs of people. And, one of the things that I was very proud of when it came out was the fact that during the housing crisis, a lot of those people lost their licenses, and rightfully so. They were doing and really, just taking advantage of a system. They were predatory lending, and that's where the name came from. For those of you who haven't watched The Big Short, please watch it. I remember the first time I watched it with my husband, and it really gave light to what exactly was going on, obviously in the entertainment segment, but sector, but so much of it was truly depicted. And I was watching these guys that I worked with doing the same thing to local people. And then it started to become people I knew. And I really struggled with that, with just the mental side of things, that it wasn't right, the moral side of things, the ethics side of things. So when loan officers then just didn't need to fill out a piece of paper and write a check and get their license, and actually had to do testing and had to do continuing education and continue it that year over year, I was thrilled about it, because I knew that would weed out a lot of the people that were in it to just get rich quick. And it did. However, the housing market and the housing crash of 2008 and 10 was a really hard time to be a part of the industry, because then so many people, I would talk to people and they'd be like, you're the reason why I don't have a home anymore. You're the reason why I got taken advantage of. And while it wasn't me, I really was working with people who are doing that. And I decided, I'll never forget the face that I saw where they looked at me and said, you're the reason, you work for a bank. And even though it wasn't me, it was truly their emotions and livelihood that mattered. And I remember looking at it saying, I will never, ever work like that. I didn't before, and I won't do it now. And I have prided myself on that being my motto, if you will, of making the change in education. And so starting this podcast in a full circle light was really important to me, because I truly enjoyed doing videos that were educating people. However, when they started to get shorter and shorter and shorter, I kept going, I can't do right by the clients that are and the consumers that are looking to be educated when I can only give them 10 seconds worth of stuff, or I'll lose their attention. So after about a year of going back and forth and thinking about it, and then as well as doing a stint on the Mino and Mayer show, radio show every other week, I really found a liking to talking to people through the microphone. And I really hope that this podcast brings you everything you could want to know and need on mortgage and real estate. Not only that, but if you're in self-employed, how to market your business. If you are, people, yes, I work for a company, but at the same time, I'm still a local, somewhat self-employed person where I need to build my business like any other self-employed person. But also to what the consumers need to know in general. Insurance is going up like crazy. What is private mortgage insurance? Why do you need it? What are the different loan options out there? Are you going to be an investor? Do you want to learn more about investing? Are you a young consumer who wants to learn about house hacking? There's so many things that this industry brings us, and there's so many amazing people that I've met over the years. Some are clients, some I've worked with myself to build my business, and I just felt like it was time to bring that to those people and the consumers of what they really want to hear and see the way I did. And so it is something that I'm super excited. I know I've said that 100 times. You also get to know me, as well as I tend to be repetitive at times. And there's even times where I trip up and I don't have the most proper of English, but that's part of who I am. And I think that that's what resonates with a lot of people. When I work with my clients, I always try to see it at their level. One of the things people come to me with struggles on is credit. So we want to go into credit faceting, and how do you build a credit score? Things you've never been taught. How do you budget? How do you plan that budget? And then, all in all, obviously teach you more and more about mortgages. mortgages are not the sexiest thing out there, and they're certainly not the most fun thing to film on. However, they are a pretty neat tool to use in building your own personal wealth, your future, and, maybe even a second income in some levels when it comes to flipping or investing and things like that. There's so much about the housing industry that is truly an interesting piece of it. And I can't wait to bring you those people that'll sit on this couch with me and have those real discussions with you. The other part you'll know and see about me is the realness that I am and being in the industry, because there are so many that I talk to too where bad things happen to good people, and financially, medically, then leads to financially. Divorce leads to financials. Student loan debt can lead to financials. So much of our lives are wrapped around the financial the sector, that bringing the right people to you, as well as having that genuine conversation and something that you can learn even a small fraction of, means I'm doing my job right. And I've always said, if you do your job right and you treat those people around you right, the business will come. And I believe that to be true in any segment of employment, no matter what you do. And I believe it to be true here too. So I hope you'll join me in this journey of Always On Point, where we get into the nitty gritty of so many interesting topics. And I am thrilled to bring this to you. So you'll be able to find this on my YouTube channel in full. We'll also go out and we're going to end up being in Spotify and Apple Podcasts and things to that nature as this channel continues to grow and grow and grow in the podcast. So thank you so much. The only charge of admission is to subscribe. And if you like it, please hit the like button, share it with somebody that you might find that, or you might know that will find this interesting. And if there's any topics you want to hear about, drop me a line. I want to hear about it, because we're only as relevant as the people want to listen. And so if there's a topic you want to learn more on, probably means many others do too. So I want to hear that. And you can find me at kambos@pointmtg.com. You don't have to write it down. It will be in the notes as well. Or you can always shoot me a text at 920-606-1156. Again, would love to hear from you. Thank you again. And we'll see you here at Always On Point with Kristen Ambos.
This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales Event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
Heads up, folks. Interest rates are falling. But as of September 23rd, 2024, you can still lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at public.com. That's a pretty big deal, because when rates drop, so can the interest you earn on your cash. A bond account allows you to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment grade corporate bonds. So while other people are watching their returns shrink, you can sit back with regular interest payments. But you might want to act fast, because your yield is not locked in until you invest. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at public.com. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account, only at public.com. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit public.com/disclosures for more info.